Okay, in this video we're going to be removing the engine. Now I thought about this one and I have to be honest, I'm just going to take a lot of photos and narrate it. The reason being, it takes around 4 hours to get the engine out, and if I'm recording every single step along the way, it's going to double that time. So I'm going to remove the engine. I'm using a Haynes manual as a reference. And while we're talking about Haynes manual, I just want to show you something. I went out of my way to buy an old manual. This one covers the range 69 to 85. If you go and buy a brand new Haynes manual, they are horrendous to follow. They jump all over the place. You know, if you're taking off the ignition, it will tell you to go to the ignition section, and then you'll have to come back and then you do the cooling, and it'll tell you to go. They're really annoying to follow. The old ones are nice and simple. So save yourself a few quid. If you want a Haynes manual, try and get an old one. So as I've said, I'm only going to do pictures and I'm following the Haynes manual instruction as a guide. Okay, so a quick review of what I've done so far. As you can see here, I've got the alternator off, I've got the carburetor off, and I've got the exhaust manifold off. And I've also got the starter motor off. You'll obviously note this is not a standard exhaust, it's a long centre branch exhaust, and that carburetor and its manifold are also not normal. So that clears the way at the front of the engine quite nicely. I've also taken, let's let the camera focus, I've taken the cable off the temperature sender, cable off the pressure switch down here. Anything that was associated with the alternator's gone, anything associated with the starter motor has been taken off. The solenoid that was on the side down here I've removed and put at the top, and be some people that noticed that was a bit daft because the starter motor I had on this car didn't actually need a solenoid, so that original solenoid was just used for connecting the cables together. Again, on the top of the engine I've disconnected the heater cable, and at the back of the engine, I'll see if the camera will pick up down there. Yep, there's a fuel pump and both cables are off that. And then down here you might be able to make out I've removed and put around the back the clutch sleeve. I think that's it. At some stage I'm going to have to take off this engine steady here. And I forgot to say the distributor cap has come off with its leads and the rotor cap. And I've also taken the horn off the front because again that can get in the way, and the coil has come off that bolt there. Okay, so we've done all the stuff under the bonnet, so now I'm turning my attention to the drive shafts. So I've taken the wheel off, as you can see, and I'll just zoom in, and what the book suggests you do next is, come on, focus camera, is undo this screw for the bump stop, and then you need to take this bump stop out and replace it with a wooden wedge to hold the upper arm up. To actually achieve this, I'm actually jacking the drum up with my jack, and then I'll be able to take that off and replace it with a chock of wood. So that's what you've got to do, and then once we've done that, that is the way to undo these ball joints. So that one and the one at the top there. And then as long as you're holding that arm up with that piece of wood, that'll allow the hub to lower down or drop down. Okay, so you can see I've put the wedge in place, and then I've taken the steering joint off. To my horror, that was basically finger tight. I put the clamp on, tightened it up, and it fell out. The top ball joint, however, was a lot tighter, and I had to use the splitter on that, but it did eventually come undone. So that allows the whole hub to drop down, and hopefully we'll be able to pull the drive shaft out from the inside. Okay, so I'm now under the car. I'm just showing you what the previous steps has allowed happen. You can see the drive shaft has actually come out, so you can see it moving in and out there. So that's what that allowed you to do. Now you need to do the other side, which I might do some more recording on. Okay, so I've done both wheels and both drive shafts are now pulled out, but I have to be honest, it's been too easy. Quite worryingly, it's been too easy. And I'll zoom in and show you why. I'll zoom in on that bit. You've got to let it focus. Yeah, pull back a bit. Right, can you get that bit in and that bit in?
Yeah.
And that bit in. Okay, so the top ball joint you have to undo. When I undid that, that just fell down, and the steering joint did exactly the same. So between those two, that could be half an hour for you to get them off, and I did it in about a minute. Also, the bump stop here is held in place with a Phillips screw. They can twist off, and then you can spend time drilling that out as well. So I've been very lucky, but also has been quite worrying that everything has been so loose. Anyway, so what's next? I think it must be time for gearbox rods. Okay, so I don't know how well this footage is going. I'm actually under the car and the camera's actually under the car. So this is the rod change gearbox. This is the lower one. Mine's actually bent, so but I don't think it's meant to be bent, so that's not really good. But I've got this special drift which you can get with a kit to do all the seals in here, and I've just tried it and it is actually working really well, because this can be one of those awkward jobs. I can't even... So there you go, that is that rod off. I thought that was going to be a lot harder than that. Okay, I don't know if it's meant to be bent or not. Next I've got to undo the bolt above it to get the top rod off. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay, this is still going very well. I'm sure something's going to go wrong eventually. That's the top engine steady taken off. It's got the earth braid on it as well. And then I've managed to undo the speedo drive, just follow the cable down and undo it. It's right at the back of the engine. You have to put your hand down by the fuel pump, but even that's come undone. That's finger tight, which it should be. So now the engine is actually wibbly wobbly. So now it's time to do water hoses. That one at the back there to the heater matrix, and this one on the heater valve at the front. Then it will be engine mounts, and that will be the engine ready to be lifted out, apart from the fact I've still got the bonnet on. Okay, so we're at the exciting bit. We are ready to lift. I've borrowed an engine lift from a friend. I've removed the bonnet, as you can see, and I've disconnected the 4 bolts that hold the engine mounts in place. So we are ready to lift. The only problem I'm going to have is how I roll the Mini back, but we'll see if I can lift it first. Okay, so this is lifting really well. It's always worth checking you're not catching on anything, and in my case, camera will have to focus on this. I have actually managed to get the clutch operating lever underneath a brake pipe, so I'm just going to have to bend that out of the way. So there we go, the engine is out. Now I've got to work out where to put it and where to roll the Mini. Okay, so that is the engine removed, and that went far too well. Like I said in the video, there's a few things that came undone far too easily. A bit worrying really. Anyway, that's that done. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. If there's any questions you had or any comments, please leave them below, and feel free to subscribe if you wish. Thank you for watching.